Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to learn a tune called the Kerry Fling, or the Road to Glountane, or Cos Teahans. Like so many Irish tunes, it has multiple names, but this one is traced back to the playing of accordion player Terry Teahan, who lived in Chicago. He was born in 1905 in Glountane, which, according to Wikipedia, is in South Kerry. According to Google Maps, it's in Cork. Maybe somebody can confirm in the comments where Glountane is, but nevertheless, this is the road to Glountane, which in theory could very well be in Kerry. Regardless, it is a barn dance or a fling, depending on how you interpret the rhythm, but we're also going to look at it as a reel because that's the way that I recorded it. I called it the Kerry Fling because I didn't know any better. It's a long time ago. There's a lot of fun things to do in the real version, like runs of tremolo ornamentation, some syncopated variations. And one thing that I did on my album, which causes me confusion now to try and redo it, is a series of downward moving triplets that ends up in a sort of a... So keeping track of the timing in that one is a bit of a puzzle. We'll look at that when we look at the real version. First, we're going to look at it as a barn dance / fling, but you got to learn the tune first. So head on over to Patreon. The simple, notated, transcribed version of this will be there. It's in the key of A. It's dead simple. You'll learn it in a hot minute. Then come back here and we'll have a look at putting some fun things into it. So the first thing we're going to do is play this simply, but with lovely light bounce and rhythm. In barn dance and in fling world, it's about the rhythm, it's about the bounce. So we're keeping this dead simple, and what we're leaning into very much is the rhythm. What makes this barn dancey, flingy kind of rhythm, and why did I interpret this as a reel? Well, we'll get to the reel part in a minute. But there's a couple of rhythmical things in the first part and the second part that lend to this notion of it being either a slow barn dance or a fling. And it's those dotted quarter notes. That's what creates that kind of really swingy, flingy, bouncy barn dance rhythm, particularly the second part. Now you can play that in kind of regular rhythm, and that's more in that kind of barn dance hornpipe vibe. What makes this more of a fling is by lengthening those first notes. Set dancers might comment and say that that is or isn't a fling. I'm dying to know. I've always been a little bit confused with the fling barn dance relationship, and I know that it's got an awful lot to do with set dancing and how the dancers move differently to a fling than they do to a barn dance. So I would love some clarification on that. If you know better than I do, please let me know in the comments. Here's an interpretation of the tune where I'm going to go for a more old-time clawhammer kind of vibe. Now, just to give you an idea what I mean, if I was to approximate old-time clawhammer banjo on a tenor banjo, it would be in the neighborhood of this. So it's bouncy and swingy, but a lot of hammer-ons. So in this version, we're going to use hammer-ons, slides, pull-offs and chords, and a little bit of right-hand ornamentation like triplets and stuff. So see what you think of this. There's a few little things in that. Pull-offs, which is playing and pulling off at the same time. Hammer-ons, making one note. And in this one, it's a full tone, so fret 2 to 4. And lots of slides, particularly in the second half. All of this just contributes to that nice, bouncy, glidey, old-timey feel. And again, it's really about creating the rhythm, more so about the razzmatazz of all the pull-offs and hammer-ons. And so this is about that old-timey vibe. Don't like using the word old-timey because at the end of the day, this is an Irish barn dance. But those kind of ideas work to create the rhythm of the barn dance, which is essentially what this is all about. So how did this become a reel? I only ever knew it as a reel, and it's a great reel. I think because it's in the key of A, or certainly that's the way I play it, in the key of A. It's very simple and it's repetitive, which is one of the lovely things about Irish reels, because it leaves lots of room for ornamentation. Here's a version of me playing it at 120 BPM with lots of flashy things, and then we'll talk about what I did afterwards. First one we're going to talk about is that syncopated high A. Well, there it is. It's very easy. Keeping track of the rhythm is probably the challenging part. It's easy when it's low down, but if you tap your foot along to that, because of the syncopated nature of it, it'll keep you in. It'll either keep you in rhythm or it'll confuse you. Who knows? Second one, run of tremolo. Just to talk a little bit about the pick hold and pick action. When you go to do tremolo, you need to be super light with your pick hold. Now, all the way through this, as a barn dance, as a fling, simple ornamentation, triplets, hammers-ons, the whole works, really, really light pick hold and very light in the wrist. Stiff wrist is not your friend at all in banjo. We need to light wrist, and I've talked loads about supporting the hand on the banjo so that your wrist can move very, very freely. And here, to do tremolo, it's going to sound counterintuitive, but you're barely holding the pick at all with your hand, and you're letting the wrist do all the work. So your playing gets really light for that section. That's how you get across that very, very fast tremolo or series of triplets, depending on how you want to interpret it. That's going down toward the floor in the string change. Totally understand that this is advanced stuff, but it's always worth having a goal to work to, right? Here's one round of the tune where I'm going to play it at speed, but not at like crazy 120, right? Harder than it looks, especially that bit. I'm kind of terrified to look back at that and see, did I add in 2 or 3 extra bars? When you get into that, I find it hard to keep track of the 8. That's why playing along with a guitar player is easier, because like they're leading the return to the first part. This is all supposed to be fun. This bit is fun. Just playing reels. Playing a fling as a reel and filling it full of crazy ornamentation. Like I said, just supposed to be fun. One round of this slowed it down with all of the fun stuff. So there you have it, a confused, garbled, that's just me, lesson for the road to Glountane, Cuz Teahan's barn dance, or the Kerry Fling. You choose. All of this, of course, notated and transcribed on SoundSlice, where you can slow down all the crazy fast stuff and just pick out the notes as you see fit. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe.